What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MavAttack, Metal Gear Solid. Now, when I think of Metal Gear Solid, I think back to all the games, all the emotions that it made me feel. Love, pain, joy, hatred, all of these emotions. But one of the biggest things that I feel when I think of Metal Gear as a franchise is confusion. I get confused, and it's not difficult to get confused because Metal Gear's history, Metal Gear's franchise is very convoluted and very difficult to follow. So what I'm here to do today is to give you guys a summed up version from the very beginning of the franchise all the way down to the very last games, from the fictional chronological order from the beginning to the end. And also, before we start, I do want to give some insight to what Metal Gear is, some of the characters that you'll see, and just some visual aids, because I personally am a very visual person, and I think it does help having visual aids on screen to really recognize things. So let's start with, what is Metal Gear? Metal Gear is a series of stealth and action games. Now, with the exception of a few, these were all written and directed by the genius Hideo Kojima. These are games known for their crazy boss fights, absolutely unforgettable characters, and unique takes on stealth gameplay. I want to show you guys a timeline that I created specifically for this video to give you guys a visual aid from beginning to end. So to know where you came from, you gotta start from the beginning. So now, introducing some of the important characters, we're going to start at the very top, starting with the boss. Now, she is Snake's mentor. Now, stepping down from the boss is the main man. This is the man of the hour. All of you guys that are going into the Phantom Pain, this is the protagonist. This is Naked Snake, or as I will refer to him throughout the video, Big Boss. Big Boss is the elite super soldier. This is the person that everybody wants to be. And now, finally, stepping down from Snake, we got the three brothers. We got Solid Snake, Liquid Snake, and Solidus Snake. Now, these three brothers are the sons of Big Boss. They were created as clones just in case something happened to Big Boss. The only downfall to these clones is that they were genetically modified so their lifespan would shorten. Basically, they would grow rapidly older over a smaller amount of time, and I will explain this later on. Now, these are the important characters, so whenever I'm referring to one of them specifically, I will add their image on the screen. So if I'm talking about Big Boss, there's Big Boss. If I'm talking about Liquid Snake, there's Liquid Snake. And also a big warning, obviously, to anybody watching, there are going to be many spoilers in this video, so that is something to be aware of. But let's get into it. So in 1918, Russia, China, and the United States created the Philosophers, a corrupt organization who basically control everything. Think the Illuminati. 1963, the game is Metal Gear Solid 3, Operation Snake Eater. So Fox agent Naked Snake, Fox was a covert operations group affiliated with the CIA and led by Major Zero, this guy, is sent into Soviet Russia to recover a Russian weapons designer and destroy a new Soviet superweapon, the Shagohod, which is a nuclear-armed tank. Naked Snake, this guy, is stopped by the boss, this woman, Naked Snake's mentor. The boss is defected to Russia and given them a nuclear bomb. The bomb is used on a Russian research facility by Volgin, a powerful, hungry Russian psychopath. He's crazy. So in 1964, Naked Snake is told by Major Zero, the leader of Fox unit, that the United States government was willing to revoke the charges in regards to any and all involvement in the boss's defection under the condition that he accepts the follow-up mission, Operation Snake Eater. The United States send Naked Snake back in to kill the boss and retrieve the stolen weapon, the Shagohod, whilst at the same time aiming to prove that the United States did not set off the nuclear device. Naked Snake is assisted by Eva. During this mission, Naked Snake has many encounters with Revolver Ocelot, this guy. Naked Snake discovers Volgin has obtained the Philosopher's Legacy, basically a $100 billion savings account. Naked Snake eventually destroys the Shagohod, kills the boss and Volgin, and gets away with half of the Philosopher's Legacy. So later on, Naked Snake discovers that the boss was actually loyal to the United States, and she was working undercover the whole time. See, the boss was set up and unaware that the Philosophers wanted her dead. She believed she was on a mission to acquire the Philosopher's Legacy. She was given the nuclear bomb to give to Volgin and then earn his trust. Now, little did the boss know Volgin had orders to use the nuclear bomb, and in doing so, the Americans were blamed for this nuclear attack. The CIA revised the boss's mission and named it Operation Snake Eater. She was told she would continue to appear as a traitor to the United States and allow herself to be assassinated by the agent Naked Snake. The United States renamed Naked Snake Big Boss, but he's pissed off this whole time at the United States for having the boss labeled as a traitor, even though she was loyal, and having him used to kill her. Big Boss, formerly known as Naked Snake, leaves his unit in Fox, shortly followed by Major Zero, this guy. 1970, the game is Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops on the PSP. Big Boss has been captured and tortured by his old unit Fox. Fox was taken over by Gene, aka Viper, and became a renegade group. Whilst in prison, Big Boss meets Green Beret Roy Campbell. Big Boss escapes and learns that the United States is blaming Big Boss for turning the Fox unit renegade and charges Big Boss with treason. And they also arrest Major Zero, this guy. Now, Big Boss and Roy Campbell decide to create Foxhound, a unit to take down the remaining Fox unit, while clearing their names of all of these charges. Other members of Foxhound include Ocelot, Major Zero, Eva, and Frank Yeager, a former Fox agent. Big Boss defeats Gene, and in doing so, Gene gives Big Boss all of the Fox unit's money, soldiers, and plans to build their own private military nation. It is then revealed that Fox kidnapping Big Boss was set up by Ocelot and Major Zero, and that Major Zero had manipulated Gene into going renegade. And this whole thing was to lure the CIA's director out of hiding so they could obtain the Philosopher's legacy. You know, all that freaking money that the Philosophers had gotten together. Revolver Ocelot kills the head of the CIA and obtains the Philosopher's legacy and enlists, naming all of the members of the actual Philosophers. Ocelot, Major Zero, and Big Boss use the legacy and their new army to reorganize the Philosophers and create the Patriots. The Patriots gain control of the US government and aim to fulfill the idea of a unified world that was envisioned by the boss. Ocelot and Major Zero decide to make Big Boss the face, the big face of the Patriots. In 1972, Big Boss is critically injured. Now Major Zero, who is fearful that his legendary soldier is gonna die, uses somatic cell cloning and Eva as a surrogate mother to create a clone of Big Boss. Major Zero names this project Les Enfants Terribles. I probably butchered that. But it's a project designed to create the perfect soldier using the genes of the greatest warrior of the 20th century. Eva ended up producing twins, Liquid Snake and Solid Snake, both regarded as imperfect clones. So finally a third child was created named Solidus Snake. Solidus was regarded as the perfect clone of Big Boss. So to prevent the clones from falling into enemy hands and used against the Patriots, each were given accelerated aging. With it been estimated they would die early in the 40s if needed, new clones could be made. Now Big Boss is absolutely outraged at what Major Zero has done, and he also believes that the Patriots have corrupted the vision of the boss, his former mentor, and so he decides to leave the Patriots for good. 1974, game Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Big Boss and his new group, Militaires Sans Frontières, I probably butchered that too, are asked to save Costa Rica from an army who have taken over the country. Big Boss discovers this army is building a Metal Gear codenamed Peace Walker. The Peace Walker was also fitted with the Boss AI, created by Dr. Strangelove. The Boss AI was an AI based perfectly on the boss. So all this craziness happens, but eventually a nuclear war is averted. Now Big Boss uses his group and Peace Walker developers to build his own Metal Gear. This Metal Gear is stolen by a secret agent sent by Major Zero, this guy. Major Zero intends on using the Metal Gear to launch nukes at the US and frame Big Boss and his group for the attack. Big Boss decides to create his own military nation, his own private nation, free of the exploitation and corruption of the world's governments, and he names it Outer Heaven. Now Big Boss plans to use Outer Heaven and take on Major Zero and his group, the Patriots. So soon after following Peace Walker is Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. So this is where the brand new game is going to be taking place, is right after Peace Walker. Now a little while after the events of The Phantom Pain, we come into 1995 with the game Metal Gear. Now the United States learn that Outer Heaven are building their own Metal Gear, so they send Foxhound to destroy it. Big Boss sends Frank Yeager, aka Gray Fox, on the mission to Outer Haven, but he fails and is captured. Big Boss sends in rookie Solid Snake. Solid Snake does not know Big Boss is his father. Solid Snake saves Gray Fox and continues to complete Gray Fox's mission. Big Boss attempts to stop Solid Snake from completing his mission, and he reveals that he is the leader of Outer Heaven, and that he took the role as leader of Foxhound so he could delay the mission, so Outer Heaven could finish building the Metal Gear. Solid Snake ends up defeating Big Boss and the Metal Gear and sets the whole facility to self-destruct. Somehow, by some miracle, Big Boss survives and saves everyone from Outer Heaven before the whole facility is destroyed. Big Boss and his soldiers retreat to the Middle East. 1999, the game is Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake. The world's oil is running low and it is considered a major crisis. To counter the problem, Dr. Kiyomarov creates a synthetic oil. He is then kidnapped by soldiers from Zanzibar Island with the intentions of holding the world hostage by controlling the world's oil supply. Zanzibar uses Metal Gears to watch over Dr. Keo Marv to prevent him escaping or being rescued. Roy Campbell sends Solid Snake to Zanzibar to rescue Dr. Keo. Now during the mission, Solid Snake discovers that Big Boss survived their first fight from the very first Metal Gear game. Solid Snake fails to save Dr. Keo Marv, finding him dead, but manages to obtain the formula for the synthetic oil from his corpse. Solid Snake is attacked by Metal Gear D, a Metal Gear piloted by Gray Fox. Solid Snake ends up defeating the Metal Gear, and Gray Fox survives, and he and Solid Snake engage in a battle. Solid Snake kills the Gray Fox. Then Solid Snake comes across Big Boss and they engage in battle, resulting in the Big Boss being killed. And just before Big Boss dies, he reveals that he is Solid Snake's father. Big Boss's body is recovered by the Patriots. Despite suffering major injuries, he was still alive. So after Big Boss is defeated by Solid Snake, his body is recovered by the Patriots, and despite suffering major injuries, he was still alive after this whole time. So Major Zero placed him in a cold storage unit while using nanomachines to artificially induce a cryogenic coma. Major Zero's goal was to use Big Boss's genes to enhance soldiers, giving them augmented senses, reflexes, and combat skills. Major Zero grew sentimental and kept Big Boss's body around. Now this really pissed off Revolver Ocelot, and he started to plot against Major Zero and the Patriots. So later down the road, Foxhound leader Roy Campbell leaves and Liquid Snake joins Foxhound and soon afterwards becomes the Foxhound leader. About a year later, Major Zero is growing old and losing faith in humanity, so he doesn't trust anyone to take over the Patriots. Major Zero ends up commissioning the construction of an AI network called the System to pursue his vision. The system consists of 4 AIs controlled by a 5th master AI. He uses Big Boss's biometric data as a key to access the central master AI. The system takes over all functions of the Patriots. The Patriots place Solidus Snake as President of the United States. Solidus Snake, this guy, orchestrates the forthcoming Shadow Moses incident. In 2003, Dr. Naomi Hunter perfects the virus FoxDie, a virus that is programmed to kill specific people by identifying the person's DNA and their nanomachines. This was originally created to kill Solid Snake as revenge for Snake killing the Gray Fox. So in 2005 comes the game Metal Gear Solid. The classic, the PlayStation 1 hit everybody knows. Foxhound leads an armed uprising on a remote island in Alaska called Shadow Moses. Led by Liquid Snake, his unit have been genetically advanced. These are the genome soldiers I mentioned earlier. They have acquired the nuclear-capable Metal Gear Rex and are threatening the United States government with a nuclear strike if they do not receive the remains of Big Boss within 24 hours. Roy Campbell sends in Solid Snake with a mission to locate hostages, DARPA chief, and Arms Tech president. These will confirm if Liquid has the ability to launch the nukes. Snake ends up finding the Arms Tech president, and during their conversation, the Arms Tech president suffers a sudden cardiac arrest. Snake is confronted by Ocelot. He challenges Snake to a gunfight. As Ocelot is about to shoot Solid Snake, his hand is chopped off by a cyborg ninja. It starts to get freaking crazy. The genome-modified ninja is actually Gray Fox, who is believed to be dead following his fight with Solid Snake in Metal Gear 2. Now during the mission, Snake rescues Meryl, who is Roy Campbell's daughter, and Otacon, who is the creator of Metal Gear Rex. Upon saving Otacon, Solid Snake learns that Liquid has Metal Gear Rex. Solid Snake delves deeper into the Shadow Moses complex where he encounters Metal Gear Rex, being piloted by Liquid Snake. During the battle, Gray Fox comes to the aid of Solid Snake by heavily damaging Metal Gear Rex, but in doing so, Gray Fox is killed when Metal Gear Rex crushes him. After a fist fight on top of Metal Gear Rex, Liquid tries to escape. Once Solid Snake catches up to Liquid, Liquid suddenly dies of cardiac arrest, and it is at this point Solid Snake discovers he is infected with the FoxDie virus. Unknown, Gray Fox at the time was still alive. Dr. Naomi Hunter had earlier injected Solid Snake with the virus, and after all this, Solid Snake is told that he may have plenty of years to live. Now following Shadow Moses, a book is published revealing everything, including Solidus's involvement, and he is forced to step down as president and go into hiding with Ocelot. Ocelot also weirdly grafts Liquid Snake's hand onto himself in replacement of his own chopped off hand, and this results in Liquid Snake's conscience trying to take over Ocelot's body. Some weird stuff going on, but in 2007, the game Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty happens. Solid Snake discovers that a tanker is transporting a new Metal Gear, and he finds the ship and boards it in an attempt to destroy the new Metal Gear. The tanker is hijacked by Ocelot, who is currently possessed by Liquid Snake, and steals Metal Gear Ray. Solid Snake is accused of stealing Metal Gear Ray and then goes into hiding. And here comes part 2 of the game. Foxhound Agent Raiden, also the adopted son of Solidus Snake but has lost his memories of this, is ordered to rescue hostages being held in the Big Shell facility. They are being held captive by a terrorist group named Sons of Liberty, whose leader claims to be Solid Snake. During the mission, Raiden meets a man named Pliskin who helps him try to transport the hostages from the facility. Raiden and Pliskin defeat Solid, but he escapes. It is then revealed that the Solid Snake impersonator and the leader of the Sons of Liberty is Solidus Snake, and Solidus took the name of Solid Snake to frame Solid for his terrorist activities, and then at the same time, Pliskin reveals that he is actually Solid Snake in disguise. While on the facility, Raiden learns the facility is one massive Metal Gear, also that it houses the Patriots' AI systems. Raiden and Solid Snake successfully plant a virus into the AI system, but Solid Snake is captured. Raiden then fights an army of Metal Gear Rays, and Ocelot reveals that the entire Big Shell mission was a carefully coordinated attempt to reenact the events of the Shadow Moses incident, orchestrated by the Patriot AI, for the sole purpose of creating a soldier who is Raiden, on par with Solid Snake. Raiden is then contacted by the Patriot AI via his comms unit. It reveals that the true purpose of the simulation was to see how well they could simulate and control human behavior. The AI orders Raiden to kill Solidus, otherwise they will kill his loved ones. When Raiden confronts Solidus, Solidus reveals Raiden's past to him and that he is Raiden's foster father. The two engage in battle, in which Raiden kills Solidus Snake. When Ocelot sees that Solidus has been killed, he flees with the last Metal Gear. Angered at being manipulated by the Patriots, Raiden vows to destroy them all. Now in flies 2014's game Metal Gear Solid 4 Guns of the Patriots. Ocelot is now controlled by Liquid Snake's conscience, so from now on we're going to be calling him Liquid Ocelot. This is Ocelot being controlled mentally by Liquid Snake. Try not to get that confused, but his new name is Liquid Ocelot. So the world is now run by private nanomachine enhanced militaries, with the biggest one being led by Liquid Ocelot. The United Nations want Liquid Ocelot assassinated, so they send in Solid Snake to kill Liquid Ocelot. Now at this point in time, Solid Snake is now Old Snake. We're still gonna call him Solid Snake, but he's an old man now. So due to his accelerated aging, he has only around a year to live. Now Old Snake, or Solid Snake, fails his first attempt to assassinate Liquid Ocelot, but finds out that Dr. Naomi Hunter is being held captive by Liquid Ocelot. Solid Snake rescues Dr. Naomi Hunter, but then is told that the Fox Die virus in his body is mutating. She then explains Liquid Ocelot wants Big Boss's frozen body to retrieve his biometric data and use it to access the Master Patriot AI, giving him control over every nanomachine in the freaking world. So during a battle with multiple mechs, a cyborg ninja assists Solid Snake and helps him escape. And the ninja is revealed to be Raiden. It is one of the most epic freaking fights ever. Now Liquid Ocelot succeeds in acquiring Big Boss, gaining control of all the nanomachines in the world, and he shuts down every army in the world apart from his own. So his plan is to use Metal Gear Rex from Metal Gear Solid 1 to destroy the Patriots, so he heads back to Shadow Moses to acquire it. So Liquid Ocelot obtains Metal Gear Rex from Shadow Moses and prepares to launch his nuclear strike finally on the Patriots' central core. Solid Snake and Raiden manage to prevent Liquid from launching that strike, and they plant a virus created by Dr. Naomi Hunter into the core of the AI system. The virus destroys the Patriot system, which in turn destroys all AIs and nanomachines in the world. The world is left with only the bare necessities for the modern civilization to survive. Solid Snake and Liquid Ocelot engage in one final fight, one hand-to-hand combat, which is epic, and Solid Snake ends up killing Liquid Ocelot. With the Patriots and all nanomachines gone, every army, every person, every government in the world is now free from manipulation and is free to do whatever the heck they want. So in the final scenes of the game, Solid Snake visits Big Boss's grave with only a year to live and the Fox Die virus in him mutating, threatening to kill everyone around him. He decides to end it and commit suicide. But before he does it, before he ends his life, a man approaches him, pushing another man in a wheelchair. The man walking is Big Boss. He explains that the frozen corpse was not him, but it was Solidus Snake. As Solidus Snake was the perfect clone of Big Boss and shared his DNA, people presume the frozen body was Big Boss, when Big Boss was actually in fact alive this whole time. Big Boss explains the Patriots were created to fulfill the original boss's, this woman's, vision, or a unified world, but along the way Big Boss and Major Zero both lost their way and pursued different paths to achieve this. Big Boss explains that Major Zero allowed the AIs to take control, which led to a world dependent on the war economy, and that his was far from the vision of the boss when she envisioned a unified world. Big Boss then walks behind the old man in the wheelchair and turns off his life support. The old man dies in Big Boss's arms, and this man was Major Zero, and the war between the two finally comes to an end. Now, Big Boss informed Solid Snake that the AI implanted a new strain of fox dye in Solid Snake, and that Solid Snake was no longer becoming a biological weapon, but being in the presence of Solid Snake was killing Big Boss. So Big Boss reveals that himself, Major Zero, and Ocelot all just wanted to be free of the way the world was, that each were following their own adaptation of the boss's original dream, but that ultimately what the boss wanted was to just leave the world alone. Big Boss also reveals that Liquid's arm had not possessed Ocelot, and that Ocelot had actually used drugs, nanotech, and hypnosis to implant Liquid's personality into him to fool the AI. But when he had Liquid's arm removed, Ocelot lost his mind and was actually convinced he was Liquid Snake. Big Boss and Solid Snake reconcile, then Big Boss dies in Solid Snake's arms. Solid Snake then goes on to live the remainder of his life and to see what becomes of this brand new world. That is, ladies and gentlemen, in a nutshell, I tried to compress it, I tried to keep it down. That is everything you need to know on a basic level. It goes so much further than everything I just talked about, but that is the universe in this game. This whole series, this whole franchise is an amazing masterpiece. I implore every single one of you to play through every single one of these games, whether you're a stealth fanatic or not. The story is beautiful, the story is amazing, and I just want to thank you guys all so much for watching this episode of MavAttack. I really hope this helped you guys out. If I made mistakes, don't serve me up on a freaking platter in the comment section. Just let me know and I will try to change them with the annotations and everything. But I appreciate you guys so freaking much. I really do. And I could not be more excited for Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain on September 1st. But with all that being said, if you guys enjoyed this episode of MavAttack, man, attack that like button. All you hear Mav stay rad, all you see Mav stay fab, and I will see you guys on the next episode of MavAttack. Oh yeah, some of you may have noticed that I added Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance in this timeline, but we don't talk about that game. That game's not a Metal Gear game. We don't talk